Okay guys, so today we are looking at standard form. So we've been working with slope-intercept form for a linear function. Now we're looking at standard form. Okay, so standard form is in this format right here where we have some number times x plus some number times y equals some other number. Okay, and you can see that the equation below is in that form, right? So 15x minus 5y equals 30. Okay, what we're doing today is we are going to use this form to identify what the x and the y intercepts are. So we're going to start by finding the x-intercept. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. Okay. So when I find the x-intercept, I am going to go through these steps. Obviously, when you're working on every homework problem, you're not going to go through and fill out all of the justifications, but it's going to be helpful to have a step-by-step demonstration when you go off to do this on your own. Okay, so we're going to start with just writing the equation down. So we're going to start with the original equation, which is 15x minus 5y equals 30. Okay, so we're going to start with the original equation. And we're trying to find the x-intercept. So if we think about a graph, if we're thinking about a point that lies on the x-axis, if we're starting at the origin, we go left or we go right, but we don't go up or down at all. We're staying on the x-axis. So that means that the y value of that point is 0. So when we're talking about the x-intercept, we are talking about the place where y is 0. So y is 0 at the x-intercept. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to substitute 0 in for y. Okay. And the nice thing about that is anything times 0 is 0. So that goes away. Okay? And we're left with this equation. So 15x equals 30. So we're left with this and we need to solve. So how are we going to solve for x? So 15x, the operation between 15 and x, is multiplication. So to undo multiplication, we need to divide. So we're going to solve for x by dividing by 15. So we're going to go ahead and do that on both sides. And when you do that, you get that x equals 2. And that means that 2 is the x-intercept. And the very last thing that we're going to do is we are going to write it as an ordered pair. Which means we're going to write it as a point. So let's take a look. We know that y is 0, and we know that x is 2. So our point is going to be 2, 0, because our ordered pairs, they go x comma y. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the y-intercept. So we're going to start with the same thing. We're going to start with the equation. Original equation, 15x minus 5y equals 30. Okay, and if we think about the y-intercept, that's a point on the y-axis. So we don't go left or right at all, we're only going up or down. So at the y-intercept, x is equal to 0. So we're going to substitute 0 in for x. And the nice thing about that, 15 times 0 is 0, so that is gone. And we're left with this equation to solve. So negative 5y equals 30. Okay, we're going to solve for y. By dividing by negative 5. Okay, that means that y is negative 6 which means our y-intercept is -6. And we just need to write that as an ordered pair. Okay. So I'm going to write that as an ordered pair. And I know that my x value is 0, and I know that y is -6. So 0, -6. Okay. All right, let's look at an example. My notes are going to have everything filled out, but I really just want to go through one or two examples in the notes. So let's start here with x plus 4 equals 8. Okay, so I'm going to find the x-intercept first. And you'll notice I'm not going to fill out every step like I did in the table above. Okay, so I know for the x-intercept I'm putting 0 in for y. Okay, so I'm going to start with my original equation. Okay, I know 0 goes in for y, so that's going to go away. And that means x equals 8. Okay, so my x-intercept, x is 8, and y is 0. I'm going to find my y-intercept. I'm going to start with the original equation. To find the y-intercept, 0 goes in for x, which means x is gone. And I'm solving for y. For y equals 8. I divide both sides by 4. Y equals 2. Now on your notes, I forgot to add an extra set of parentheses, so you're going to have to draw yours in. X is 0, y is 2. Those are your x and y intercepts. And I do want to look at just one more because this is not a perfect world, so sometimes we do get fractions and decimals, and that's okay. So let's take a look at this example. 5x plus 4y equals 2. I'm going to solve for my x-intercept, which means 0 goes in for y. And 5x equals 2. Solve. Divide both sides by 5. And x equals either 2/5 or 0.4, whichever you prefer. And don't forget to write it as an ordered pair. Okay, y-intercept. Start with the original. 0 in for x, which eliminates the 5x. 4y equals 2. Divide both sides by 4. And be careful here, because this is 2 divided by 4, which is 1/2, or 0.5. Y-intercept, x is 0, and y is 1/2 or 0.5. Either one is fine. And you're done.